Chapter 1. A few days before I got married to Gu Yuanshan, he suddenly changed his mind and wanted to marry my father's illegitimate daughter Qinghe, who was living away from home. My father's mouth was stretched to his ears with joy. I quickly brought Qinghe back from outside and adopted her under my mother's name. Gu Yuanshan held my hand and said, "Everyone in your circle knows that you are the most famous socialite. Your father is one of the 3 great families, and your grandfather is a well-known figure in Shanghai. Even if you don't get married, no one will dare to say anything to you. My wedding with Qinghe is just a formality. I won't get a marriage certificate with her. Legally, you are still my wife." But he probably didn't know why his father sent him to Shanghai to study that year. It's not because my family is rich, but because my grandfather is a well-known figure in the political circle of Shanghai. I listened to him and called my grandfather that night. "Grandfather, I agree to the marriage with the Liu family. Since he doesn't want to give me enough respect, it's easy to change my fiancé." The day Qinghe was brought home, I was trying on the wedding dress that had just been delivered. The wedding dress took a long time to make. There is a diamond around the waist that was given to me by my mother before she passed away. I made it into a waist chain for the wedding dress because I wanted my mother to see me happy. The housekeeper came in from outside and said, "Miss, the uncle is here to see you. Gu Yuanshan is my fiancé, and his family is considered upper middle class in Beijing." The little girl behind him followed him timidly, hiding behind him and peeking at him shyly. Gu Yuanshan pushed the little girl in front of me, but his hands were protecting her tightly. "Xiao Mian, Qinghe is your sister, don't scare her." Qinghe Mianlian shyly approached me and said slowly, "Sister, I came here in a hurry today and didn't buy any gifts." I looked at Gu Yuanshan. "Yuanshan, I am the only child in my family, where did my sister come from?" A look of confusion went back and forth between Gu Yuanshan and Qinghe. Although I had doubts in my mind, I never stopped fiddling with the wedding dress. Gu Yuanshan's gentle voice sounded again. "Qinghe came to work for me 2 months ago. Later I found out that you two have the same father but different mothers. Recently your father wants to bring her back. I was just about to tell you the news. Qinghe, she's timid and has no friends in our circle, so please take care of her." I listened to his words and frowned. Why didn't anyone inform me about this in advance? Before I could react, Qinghe suddenly threw herself in front of me with tears in her eyes. She's so pitiful that it's hard not to want to protect her. "Brother Yuanshan, if I don't like me, then send me back." Gu Yuanshan looked at me with his eyes full of disbelief. "Xiao Mian, don't do this, you'll scare Qinghe." I took a look at the 2 people in front of me, and went into the cloakroom to change out of my wedding dress. As soon as she came out, she heard Gu Yuanshan smile. He raised his hand and gently wiped Qinghe's tears. "I told you that I won't let you wander around without knowing why. I mean what I said." I had no idea what they were talking about until I got closer. The second after I went to change clothes, Gu Yuanshan received the news that my father was going to hold a family reunion party for Qinghe. The upper echelons of society were invited. He acted as if he didn't see me and flirted with Qinghe. He gently rubbed her face with his hands and said, "You will be adopted under the name of Xiao Mian's mother. Wait 5 more days. After our wedding, no one will laugh at you anymore." I froze in place, my heart sinking. "Yuanshan, what do you mean?" He explained slowly, as if he had just seen me. "Qinghe and I have a different kind of relationship. Qinghe just came back and can't quite fit into this circle of people who look up to others. I thought about it and decided that we should still get the marriage certificate, but we will just go through the motions with Qinghe at the wedding. You are the one that everyone admires in this circle, so you must be very good at it." My face turned pale instantly, and I trembled in disbelief. "You don't want to marry me anymore, right?" Gu Yuanshan let go of Qinghe and held me in his arms. "Xiaomi, what are you talking about? It's just that we didn't have a wedding, but we are legally married." Chapter 2. The person in front of him was still talking non-stop. "Qinghe is just going through the motions with me. From now on, my money will still be yours. It's all our joint property. Just give Qinghe a little pocket money every month." Qinghe Mianlian shyly pulled his sleeve and said, "Brother Yuanshan, I am not a lazy person who can't do anything. I can help you and sister with the housework. Her words made Gu Yuanshan feel distressed. At this moment, I really want to knock his head open to see if there is paste inside. The two of us got engaged nearly 10 years ago. We are both well-known and respected people in the upper class. If we change the bride now, both families will lose face, right? Looking at the two people laughing happily in front of me, it was like a slap in the face. He didn't even think of giving me any dignity. Since ancient times, you can't have your cake and eat it too, but he didn't understand that at all. He wants to put his illegitimate daughter and mistress in public as his wife, and he also wants me, a well-known rich girl, to be his legal lover who can't be seen in public? What a big face. I glanced at Gu Yuanshan who was standing there and snorted softly. It was a pity that he was destined to draw water with a bamboo basket in vain. I asked someone to take out the wedding dress from the room and put away the diamond necklace around my waist. She spoke the truth quietly. Then how are you going to explain this to your uncle? He smiled and handed the wedding dress in his hand to Qinghe, then held me in his arms. Xiao Mian, you know my uncle loves you the most, so it's most appropriate for you to talk to him about this. Tell my uncle that we will still get the marriage certificate, but you think Qinghe is too pitiful. If she can replace you at the wedding, then she will have a foothold in this circle. Gu Yuanshan was still smugly thinking how perfect his plan was. When my uncle sees Qinghe's goodness in the future, he will definitely not regret this decision. His words were like a knife stabbing into my heart, each cut was like a slow slicing. Having been with him for so many years, for the sake of his career, every time he needed money and connections, my grandfather would help him even at the cost of his own life. The money was transferred to me in the form of hundreds of millions, and I passed it on. Every time I look at the old man's graying temples in the video, I feel a little reluctant to trouble my retired grandfather anymore. At this time, my grandfather would always say with a smile, as long as Yuanshan's career is stable and he climbs to a high position, my Xiaomian can continue to enjoy his life. Grandpa is willing to give up anything. The money spent on him and the connections used over the years could have made a lot of contributions to the country. I lowered my hands helplessly. It would be useless no matter how much money I spent on someone like him. It's like trying to help a piece of rotten wood get rid of its weakness. I called my grandfather and sighed softly, "Grandfather, I agree to the marriage with the Liu family." I nodded and said in a deep voice, "Okay, I'll take Qinghe to find my uncle tomorrow." Gu Yuanshan was right. Among this group of young people, he loved me the most, not only because I was smart, but also because my family background was really attractive. If Gu Yuanshan can take one more step forward in his career, the Gu family will truly cross the social ladder. So when I transferred the betrothal gift back to my uncle's account, his face turned pale instantly. Uncle, Yuanshan and Qinghe have a different kind of relationship. I don't want to end up unhappy with Yuanshan. Mother also said that there can't be a third person in my marriage, so Xiaomian is willing to help this couple. Today, I'm calling off my marriage with Yuanshan. With a smile on my face, I pushed the bank card with 288 yuan in betrothal gift in front of my uncle. The uncle forced a smile and looked at Qinghe. "Are you Xiaomian's half-sister? You are so pretty and beautiful." No wonder Yuanshan was so fascinated that he lost his way. Qinghe's face flushed slightly. "Uncle, you're joking." "Brother Yuanshan and I don't have anything else to say." The uncle put down the teacup in his hand and said, "You and Xiaomian should not leave today. Since you like Yuanshan, you should learn the rules of our Gu family. Since Qinghe has been sent home now, he should know some table manners. It's time for lunch too." After a while, the table was filled with various dishes. Many of them were things Qinghe had never seen before. She sat opposite me, holding a knife and fork and imitating me. In a panic, he accidentally drank the lemon water used for washing hands, and his face turned red with embarrassment when he met his uncle's gaze. Chapter 3. The uncle stared at the person in front of him with cold eyes. "You are just an illegitimate daughter, and you dare to dream of marrying into my Gu family. Even if the one who wants to marry you today is a member of the Gu family side branch, he has to consider your shameful identity. Yuanshan and Xiaomian were very happy before you came back. Why did they want to break off the engagement as soon as you came back? Chingha followed me and said nothing on the way home, but I could see tears in her eyes. As soon as she entered the house, her father rushed over, took the person behind him, and wiped her tears with a look of pity. Before I could react, I felt a burning pain on my face. You are just like your mother, both of you are vicious people who will do anything to gain power. I looked up at my father, his face was gloomy. Chingha has been living outside since she was young, and has never enjoyed any happiness. You have been a daughter held in the palm of your hand since you were born. What else are you not satisfied with? I have never treated you unfairly. How did you become like this? The bride at the wedding in 5 days can only be Chingha. I will ask someone to bring the wedding dress to Chingha later. Come and receive the family discipline every day. When Chingha has learned all the rules of the high sect, we will stop. I had to force a wry smile. The two people in front of me looked so loving, as if I was the outsider. His hands hung limply at his sides as he looked at the two men sarcastically. The next day, the news spread throughout the entire circle that the young master of the Gu family knelt in his uncle's study for a whole day and night in order to marry the illegitimate daughter. The 19th century, the 1st century BCE. Gu Yuanshan has no parents and was raised by his uncle. Coincidentally, his uncle is not a heartless person and loves him the most. After hearing this, Chingha knelt at the gate of the Gu family, begging only to see Gu's uncle. In the end, I didn't see my uncle, but I saw Gu Yuanshan stumbling out of the study. Chinghe's face was still stained with tears. Brother Yuanshan, so because of my identity, they still can't tolerate me, right? Gu Yuanshan held her in his arms, his eyes full of heartache. No, the person at the wedding must be Chingha. In the end, the uncle of the Gu family couldn't resist Gu Yuanshan's pleading and nodded and agreed. Chingha was sent back by Gu Yuanshan. When there was no one around, her face was full of pride. She applied the medicine to the wound on my back and said, I know that you look down on me as an illegitimate daughter, but so what? From now on, in the eyes of outsiders, I will be the wife of the superior Gu Yuanshan. Look, after living with them for more than 20 years, whether it's my father or my brother Yuanshan, they all love me the most. When we meet from now on, I will be Mrs. Gu. Chinghe searched my room for something, but when she couldn't find anything, she said softly, Sister, I don't have any decent jewelry. Father said that the diamond necklace left by mother can be given to me. Remember to send it to me tomorrow. When Gu Yuanshan heard that I was punished by the family, he hurried over. Seeing me lying on the bed safe and sound, he said as if it was a matter of course, Xiao Mian, uncle is punishing you because he is too worried about Chingha. And if you don't like Chingha living in our house in the future, I can give her a house. I ignored him and didn't want to look at him again. Gu Yuanshan, there is no future for us. He held me in his arms and coaxed me, I know I have wronged you in this matter, but Chingha is your sister. She can't hold her head up high in the circle, and you can't bear it. Okay, you'll be in the bridal chamber on the wedding day, okay? I gently pushed him away, walked to the window, looked at the sunlight coming in, and felt the warmth of the mountain. Chinghe's soft voice came from behind, Brother Yuanshan, the wedding is the day after tomorrow, but I don't have a decent piece of jewelry. Dad asked my sister to give me that waist chain. Chapter 4. I turned around slowly. Do you want to hear what nonsense you are saying? That waist chain is worth tens of billions, and it was left to me by my mother. Why should I give it to you? Chinghe's tears fell again. I know you are unhappy that I will replace you at the wedding, but sister, Dad said that I also have the right to inherit half of Mom's things. He looked at her with some annoyance, frowned, and raised his phone. Then I can contact my lawyer to see if you have a share of these tens of billions. Gu Yuanshan snatched my phone and looked at me accusingly. His voice was filled with regret. Xiao Mian, you weren't like this before. Since you don't have the chance to attend the wedding, what's the harm in giving it to Chingha? I stared at him coldly, then laughed after a while. Gu Yuanshan, you willingly fell in love with an illegitimate daughter. It has nothing to do with me, but my mother is a famous talented woman in Shanghai. If she knew that I had such a daughter, she would be so angry that she would come back to life. If you think she doesn't have any decent jewelry, why don't you take her to buy some? Or maybe Qinghe just likes the things my mother left behind. Qinghe was crying so hard that her eyes were filled with tears. Even the servants beside her looked reluctant. He felt a little tired of standing, so he sat down on a chair that the servant had just brought over. As soon as I sat down, I heard her crying, "Legally, we are sisters from the same mother. Why do you have to humiliate me like this? If my sister hates me, I can just go back to my rental house. I don't want to make you angry." I was full of disdain and ridicule. Have you ever been to school? Do you know how to use the term, siblings from the same mother? Alas, Gu Yuanshan and I no longer have any relationship. In this circle, I advise you not to try to grab everything. When Gu Yuanshan heard what I said, he couldn't help but pull me up from the chair. Stop it. You've been with me for so many years. Everyone must think that I've seen through you from the beginning to the end. Who would dare to want you? And there's no one who is more suitable for you than my position. I pushed his hand away with all my strength and looked at him coldly. What era is it now? He is still doing this kind of crap where chastity is more important than anything else. Besides, his current position is not that high at all. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Gu Yuanshan turned and left. Just as I was about to go out, I heard Gu Yuanshan standing at the door talking on the phone with his friend. Even if Qinghe lives at home by then, what can she say? We just need to coax her later. He clenched his fists behind his back to suppress the churning feeling in his stomach. People with evil intentions like this deserve to be treated like trash. On the day Gu Yuanshan and Qinghe got married, Qinghe wore a necklace worth millions around her neck, and her father gave her the heirloom jade bracelet. A man in a high-end suit kissed the bride on the stage, causing a sensation at the scene. Hey, I heard that the current bride is a bastard. TSK, I don't know, but it was that little girl Wan Mian before. I don't know where this daughter came from. I think that Vixen drugged the Gu family kid and left such a beautiful girl unmarried. I did hear something else. This bride was born to her first love and has been raised outside. Her first love is a diver. I guess she inherited some of her mother's skills. Xiao Mian is such a pitiful girl. Her mother also has a lover. Her father was drunk and that's why he made the mistake. Otherwise, why would she marry such a thing? You don't know, I once encountered the Gu family boy and this bride. She leaned limply against the Gu family boy and acted like a spoiled child. I sat aside and watched the two people on the stage, but my mind was not here. After a while, there was a noisy sound outside the door, and everyone's attention was attracted. This is not someone from Xiaomian's maternal grandfather's side, and he brought so many things with him. Gu Yuanshan's face was full of surprise, and then he understood something. It turns out that the old man also agrees with my behavior. Their family also feels that they have treated Qinghe unfairly. Under the guidance of Gu Yuanshan, Qinghe came to the old man's side. Just as she was about to bend down and call him grandfather, she was interrupted. Xiao Mian, come to grandpa. Just as he walked over, something was suddenly stuffed into his hand. This is the betrothal gift from the Lu family. Yunqi is waiting outside the door for you to agree to come in. His family also gave you 12 million yuan separately, which is not included in the betrothal gift. Chapter 5. Everyone present was stunned where they were. Gu Yuanshan snatched the betrothal gift list from my hand, confirmed it again and again, his eyes full of disbelief. He looked at me in panic, trying to see something from my face. He took a few steps back without leaving a trace. No, you clearly promised me that I would be your wife. I handed the betrothal gift list back to my grandfather and squatted in front of him with a smile. Grandfather, Xiaomian will listen to you. Just take care of these things. After my grandfather left, Qinghe stared at me fiercely. Sister is really good at this. She climbed up to the Lu family in Beijing in a blink of an eye. I shook the betrothal gift list in my hand and said, if you have any questions, go ask the Lu family. Anyway, you have already married your brother Yuanshan as you wished. Her face instantly turned the color of liver. Gu Yuanshan seemed to finally believe that I was going to marry someone else, and dragged me to the corner, You know very well that we can get the marriage certificate in another week. I smiled with relief. My grandfather came in person only because I was afraid that he would rush me to get the certificate. So the last words I left for my grandfather that day were, "Grandpa, Xiaomian hasn't seen you for a long time. I miss you." Lu Yunqi and I were classmates for several years. He went to high school in Shanghai and was in the same class as me. Even though the Lu family already has a lot of connections in Beijing, they now want to expand into the Shanghai industry. The process had not been going smoothly, and my grandfather's connections happened to be able to help his family. I talked to Lu Yunqi, and I helped him stabilize the industrial chain in Shanghai. As long as he climbs up the ladder, he can give me the respectable position of Mrs. Lu. The Lu family had long been envious of my family's connections, and they had confessed their love to me as early as the year he graduated from the college entrance examination. But at that time, I only thought that Gu Yuanshan was a talented person with great potential. Now it's okay. It was he who took the initiative to marry Qinghe and abandoned me first. So when he proposed to the old man of the Lu family to propose marriage, he almost immediately set off to my grandfather's house. "That's great, you finally got it." So the two families quickly arranged to come and deliver the betrothal gift list today, also to save my face. The pain in my wrist brought me back from my memories, and I shook off the octopus in my hand. "Mr. Gu, please respect yourself. We don't have any relationship at all now. I am your fiancé." Gu Yuanshan collapsed on the spot, and asked me with red eyes, "But you obviously love me, we should get married." I raised a bright smile on my lips, leaned over and whispered in his ear, "What's the use of love? I only love power. I like to be the center of attention. You know, there are some things women can't do. Since you won't give it to me, then of course someone else is willing to walk the rest of the way for me." After saying that, I stepped back calmly, out of his sight, and whispered to Qinghe behind me, "I wish you and the young master of the Gu family a long and happy life together, and may you have a son soon." Seeing me surrounded by people, my father's face turned pale. Because of the presence of guests, he couldn't lose his temper. When it was night, he rushed into my study and threw everything he had on hand to the ground. Seeing the hatred in my eyes, I chuckled. I didn't know that he now had such strong hatred for me, his daughter. "Do you really have to fight like this? Do you have to embarrass Qinghe on her wedding day?" I looked at him pretending not to understand. "Dad, what are you talking about? Did the Lu family make you lose face? If father is dissatisfied with the Lu family, you can go and talk to the Lu family. The Lu family has absolute power in this city. Even most of the orders from the Ruan family now come from their family." He looked at me with anger on his face and said, "You should go abroad tomorrow and never come back. I will tell the Lu family that you ran away from your marriage." The tears in my eyes never fell, and I had to grit my teeth to the point of breaking them before I could hold back the urge to cry. "Dad, we are biological mother and daughter. Why don't you want me to marry into the Lu family and live a good life even at the risk of bankruptcy?" He threw the only photo frame on the table at me and looked at me with disgust. "You have your mother's blood in your bones, just as vicious. If it wasn't for your mother, I could have run away with Qingqing. If she hadn't tempted me with money and power, Qinghe wouldn't have been laughed at as a fatherless child for so many years. The culprit for everything is your mother." Chapter 6. I knew from a young age that the relationship between my father and mother was not very good, but now he actually pushed everything onto my mother. I thought again of my mother who was seriously ill that year. Her last words before she died were to explain to him why she had not shown up at the hospital for so long. I looked at the couple in the photo frame and smashed the frame at his head. "What? Did my mom force you to get married? It was you who gave up Qingqing. What does it have to do with my mom? Now I think of it and want to defend Qinghe, but in all these years, you have never mentioned divorce to my mother once. What is the truth? The truth is that you stepped on my mother's bones to get to your current position. The truth is that you gave up your Qingqing and Qinghe for my grandfather's money and power. How can someone like you be worthy of your current position? This position is for the country, the people and the family, but you don't even have the most basic bottom line. Watching him take the whip off the wall, I said calmly, "My grandfather is here. If you touch me today, my grandfather and Lu Yunxi will come to trouble you tomorrow. And your beloved daughter, this whip fell on me today. I don't know if one day I will find some excuse to send her to eat state food for a few years." After saying that, I turned and left without even looking at him. I always knew that our father-daughter relationship was not good, but I didn't know he could go to this extent for the daughter of his first love. Just to prevent Xinghe from feeling disappointed, he wanted to send me abroad. It's better not to have such a father. The next day, my grandfather and I made an appointment to play golf together. I met Gu Yuanshan at the golf course, who was out discussing business. Behind him was the charming and cute Xinghe. Gu Yuanshan's face was obviously listless, but the moment he saw me, his eyes lit up. He hurried over and pulled me into his arms. "I knew you couldn't bear to leave me, so you waited for me here, right?" The smell of his perfume made me feel nauseous, so I pushed him away and took several steps back. "Gu Yuanshan, I just happened to meet my grandfather here. If I had known it would be so unlucky, I would definitely not go out today." Qinghe held my hand tightly in hers, with a proud look on her face. "Sister, you don't have to be envious. Brother Yuanshan loves you just as much." Before I could say anything, she took the cheap bracelet in her hand and put it on my hand. "I have one, and my sister has one too. Although it's not as expensive as mine, it's better in style." A bright young voice came from behind. "How come I don't know my fiancé and I envy others?" Lu Yunxi appeared behind me. This was the first time I saw him since high school. His angular appearance and voice were completely inconsistent. He took off the bracelet on my hand with disgust and put on a translucent jade bracelet instead. He looked at my wrist with satisfaction and nodded, then frowned at Gu Yuanshan. "Mr. Gu's newlywed wife seems to have some opinions about my fiancé." Gu Yuanshan looked at Xinghe's aggrieved expression and wanted to coax her, but he did nothing under Lu Yunxi's gaze. Arriving at the golf course, looking at the man chatting animatedly with his grandfather in the distance, Gu Yuanshan's face darkened for the first time. Seeing Lu Yunxi and me, my grandfather waved to us. Then he introduced us. "This is a good friend I played with when I was young. He is quite a big shot now." My grandfather took my hand, pointed at Lu Yunxi with his other hand, and looked at the old man in front of him who also had white hair with a smile. "This is my granddaughter. The boy from the Lu family is my granddaughter's husband. Now I want to open up some businesses in Shanghai. If it's convenient for you, old man, please help me." The old man in front of him laughed. "What's the big deal? It's so convenient. The eagle is so beautiful." Only then did he see Gu Yuanshan and Xinghe standing nearby, looking at my grandfather with questioning eyes. Grandfather curled his lips childishly. "Gu family boy and his wife." The old man's eyes turned and he looked back and forth between Xinghe and me. "I told you, this little girl looks so petty. She doesn't look like your daughter at all." Although the rest of the words were spoken in my grandfather's ear, everyone present heard them clearly. "She is the illegitimate daughter of the Yuan family kid? Did you meet her in that shady place?" My grandfather held back his laughter and nodded with pretended regret. After a while, the old man turned his gaze to Gu Yuanshan who was standing beside him, and suddenly realized. "Isn't this the young man who comes to me every day to discuss business? This won't work. If the top beam is not straight, the bottom beam will be crooked. This thing can't be done." Gu Yuanshan's face immediately darkened. Just as he was about to retort, a deep male voice came from behind him. Gu's uncle appeared behind him and took over the conversation. "She has returned to the Yuan family. I hope she won't be like her mother. Our family will also find a few more teachers to teach her so that she won't embarrass Yuanshan." Chapter 7. After several elders left, Qinghe's tears welled up in her eyes. I said calmly, "Don't pretend, there's no one else here, your energy won't work on me." Her eyes drifted to the corner, and she collapsed to the ground, starting to cry loudly. "Sister, I am also your sister. It is indeed wrong for me to snatch your marriage, but it is not for me to decide. I don't know the rules, and I don't know why my sister wants to spread it around." I felt helpless watching her little tricks, they were all despicable and not worthy of being shown in public. He went forward and helped her up. Chingha, what nonsense are you talking about? I'm not saying you don't know the rules. We should change when the elders say so. Why are you still talking about the elders behind their backs? If what you said today gets out, where will you let the elders save their faces? I don't know how Lu Yunxi understood what I meant, but he slowly helped my grandfather out. He quickly answered my question, why are you crying? Did the two grandfathers and Uncle Gu say something wrong just now? My grandfather immediately understood what I meant, your words are too harsh. This is a problem for us elders. Seeing that the two old people's faces were not very good, the uncle of the Gu family apologized quickly. Since your Gu family is so dissatisfied with me, I think we should give up our cooperation. When Gu Yuanshan heard this, he was shocked and apologized quickly. The old man walked away without stopping. Lu Yunxi and I helped my grandfather leave here, and we could hear the scolding from Gu's uncle from behind. You are such a fool. You gave up your legitimate daughter and insisted on marrying an illegitimate daughter. This is the only step left for our family to cross the class barrier. Chingha even started crying in public. Brother Yuanshan, you don't say a word for me. Are you tired of me? But it's only the second day of our marriage. I could hear the Uncle Gu's rage and Chingha's crying, but there was no sound from Gu Yuanshan. After that, I heard that Chingha was kept in the Gu family to learn the rules, and she was miserable and never appeared in public. It's so obvious, everyone knows that Gu Yuanshan married an illegitimate daughter who is not presentable. Since my grandfather and I traveled around for collaborations, we inevitably met a lot of people. At the banquet, I secretly ran to the rooftop to get some fresh air, but on the way back I ran into Gu Yuanshan who was walking upstairs. Just as I was about to turn around and go down another road, he quickly walked up to me and hugged me tightly. Xiao Mian, don't hide from me anymore. I struggled for a long time, finally getting out of his arms, and said calmly, we have no relationship anymore. Even if we had one before, now we are just casual acquaintances. I am someone else's fiancé, Gu Yuanshan, please give your Gu family some face. With bloodshot eyes, he pushed me against the wall, put his lips on my neck, and his hands began to reach out to my private parts dishonestly. Chapter 8. My face turned red for the first time. I tried to break free but couldn't. I said hoarsely, Gu Yuanshan, I'm your wife's sister. Aren't you afraid that I will call for help? There were some shiny water stains on his outstretched fingers, and a smile suddenly appeared on his face. You dare to say you don't feel anything? You are wet. He tied my hands with a tie and held me in his arms. His fingers kept moving, his voice began to sound confused and passionate, and I bit my lower lip to stop myself from making any sound. Xiaomi, I'm really awake now. Chingha really doesn't deserve to be in my Gu family. We were so good before. You planned and arranged everything for me. I was really wrong. Please don't marry Lu Yunxi, okay? My tears fell down my cheeks into my collar. He knew he regretted it now, but it was too late. Feeling his crazy actions, I felt a little desperate. I tried desperately to break free, but resistance was useless. About half an hour after he entered me, I heard the door open behind me. What did you do? The ground was covered with mess and unknown liquid, and I wrapped myself tightly in despair. Qing He's harsh voice sounded again, and a fiery slap hit my face. She is your brother-in-law, how could you seduce him to do such a thing? I wiped the tears from my face and looked coldly at Gu Yuanshan who was sitting in the distance. Qinghe pushed him suddenly and he almost fell off the roof. He slapped Qinghe twice on the face with his backhand. If you still can't tell right from wrong, then I don't mind teaching you how to behave myself. I packed myself up and glanced at Gu Yuanshan who was standing there in a daze as I left. I'll call the police and give you time to contact your lawyer. The noise we made up top was too loud, and on the way back we ran into Lu Yunxi who was on his way there. Seeing my miserable appearance, he seemed to have guessed something and took me to the hospital without saying a word. In the car, I looked at Lu Yunxi, who was always calm and composed, and softly described what happened on the rooftop. I was raped by Gu Yuanshan. I want to call the police. The veins on Lu Yunqi's hands bulged as he gripped the steering wheel. I could feel his anger. Well, anyone would be angry if their fiancé slept with someone else. During the entire subsequent evidence collection process, Lu Yunqi remained silent. When it was finally time to go home, he suddenly hugged me and said, "If only I had noticed earlier that you were missing." I stood there at a loss. This was the first time in my life, other than fame and power, that my heart skipped a beat. He sent me home and everyone was waiting for me in the living room. The moment my grandfather saw me, he became excited, hugged me in his arms and apologized over and over again. I looked coldly at all the members of the Gu family present and said, "I have called the police and given you enough time to find a lawyer." After that day, Gu Yuanshan was taken away for investigation, and Qinghe was confined to the house by the Gu family. The status of the Gu family plummeted. The younger uncle of the Gu family sold the family property and fled abroad with the money, preparing to make a comeback. Gu Yuanshan is a fool. Without his uncle's support and me to back him up, he did more and more ridiculous things until he squandered all the family fortune. BW Care, Far Astoria House, Pickup 7YD. This Y document Yuck FC9C Self A, 5 Move Ent. Chapter 9. After half a month of peace and tranquility, my wedding with Lu Yunqi went smoothly. I mentioned that if he felt I was not clean, our engagement could be cancelled, but he still chose to marry me. In this case, I will fulfill my promise and mobilize all my connections and property just to help him move up to the next level. After that, I never heard from Gu Yuanshan again. However, news about Qinghe reached my ears from time to time. She did not get a marriage certificate with Gu Yuanshan, so she was not legally his wife. So after Gu Yuanshan disappeared, she was taken back to the Ruan family. She lost weight for some reason and became crazy all day long. I was sitting at home watching TV, when I suddenly saw a familiar face on TV. They were a group of cyber fraudsters who were rescued from their den. After a while, I figured it out. Gu Yuanshan was such a conceited person that he believed the news of the high salary. In September of that year, I found a sealed iron box in Lu Yunqi's bedroom. Few people knew that he had a secret. I opened the iron box with curiosity, and what caught my eye was my ID photo on the high school list. There were no less than 100 love letters and one of my hairbands inside. I stood there in a daze, looking at Lu Yunqi, who was rushing over with an apron tied around his waist and a spatula in his hand. For the first time, a trace of embarrassment appeared on his face. Later I found out that he really liked me in high school. Lu Yunqi told me about his high school life with sparkling eyes. "You were waiting for the bus at the bus stop that day." To be honest, I really didn't know that I had to bring a bus card to take the bus that day. At that moment, I felt like you were a fairy that fell from the sky. As for the rubber band, I picked it up on the playground. I joked with him, I was just saying, "I can't find this rubber band no matter how hard I try." I stared into his eyes as he slowly put his hand inside my clothes. His eyes were full of desire and he asked me in a hoarse and soft voice, "Can I?" I nodded, and as I was overwhelmed, the cell phone beside me rang. With blurry eyes, I saw a name that I hadn't seen for a long time, Gu Yuanshan. I didn't answer the phone that day, but chose to sync with Lu Yunqi. That night, Lu Yunqi buried his face in my chest again and turned off the radio on his phone. The sound of the radio drowned out my voice. At 1 p.m. today, a man jumped from the rooftop of XX Hotel. According to an insider, this man is Gu Yuanshan from the Gu family. When I heard his name, I was a little dazed. So this was his ending. In this life, I finally did not make the wrong choice again, and I finally passed away with my mother's happiness. My face was straightened, and Lu Yunqi bit my lips viciously. I am sitting here doing this kind of thing, and I still have the energy to think about other men.